This is the best theme team you can build in Madden 24. And honestly, it's almost one of the best teams you can build, period. And so as you can see, we're on MUD.GG. And as you can see, we are in the lineup builder. And I'm going to walk you through building this theme team. Now, this theme team is two different teams, both at 25 out of 50. Honestly, at this point of the year, I don't really think it's worth it to do a 50 out of 50 team. But if you wanted to, and you wanted to see what it would look like for your favorite team, you can come to this site, you can hit theme teams. And then as you can see, you can pick any team here. So let's just pick the Saints for this example. And as you can see all the Saints here. One tip I would say is hit this button here, because then it'll include players like this Aiden Hutchinson, which gets all 32 team chemistries. And it also includes players like your team captains. And if you want to see it in an actual lineup form, you can click this button. And as you can see, we have it here in a lineup form. But we're going to reset. And now I'm going to tell you how to build this team. So if you haven't figured it out from the thumbnail, this is a 25 Ravens and a 25 Seahawks team. And so we're just going to go through it, and we're going to knock out the Ravens first. And so the first Ravens player you're going to put on this team is going to be Kevin Mulway. Obviously, he gets every chem, so you could also use him as a Seattle player. It does not matter really. And so there you go. As you can see, the first player is 85 overall Kevin Mulway. It is super easy to grind for the tokens to get this card up to an 85, and he's definitely good compared to one of the best centers, Jason Kelsey, who is 200k. As you can see, he's very equal to him, and of course he is free, so that helps a lot. And now the next spot that you're going to put a Raven is going to be directly next to him. It's going to be Kevin Zeitler at your right guard spot. And now this is really the only spot that this team lacks, and it's going to be your right tackle. For both Seahawks and Ravens, this is the best guy you could put here. But stick around for later in the video, because I'm going to teach you how you can get around that. Okay, so now we're going to move away from the offensive line for the Ravens, and we're going to go to the tight ends. Now there's actually a few options here. The first option is a free option. It's going to be the Nat Isaiah Likely. You can get him by leveling up in your headliners pass, and of course you can get the tokens also from that pass. And so if you get all the tokens, his overall will be an 85, and obviously as you can see right here, the stats will be there. Keep in mind for things like speed and excel that because it's a theme team, he will get boosted there. Now going to paid options, here's the cheapest one, unless obviously you wanted to use a gold. But for elites, here's the cheapest option. It's going to be 60k for Darren Waller. Honestly, his stats are pretty decent, and he is 6'6", so that's going to be good. And then here's personally what I use for this team. He is obviously the most expensive option, but he's only really like 40k more than that Darren Waller. 6'5", really good receiving stats. And obviously with the speed boost and everything, he'll have 82 speed. So that's not bad for your tight end. And so for lineup purposes, we'll just put Mark Andrews. But again, you could put any of them. And now we get into our wide receivers for our Ravens. We're only using one, but there is a few options. Now, we're going to be using the 87 overall Devin Hester. Of course, he did play for the Ravens, and he also played for Seattle. So you could use him for either or. And I mean, he's one of the best receivers in the game. And with the chems, he'll be 88 speed, which is also, I believe, the fastest in the game, besides if you had a full theme team. And for other Ravens receivers, if you did the rookie premier solos, you could have got Zay Flowers. So if you have him lying around, he's a very good option, besides being pretty short. And you also have headliners Odell, which you can get tokens for to upgrade. Me personally, I'm not going to use any of those. And so now halfback, there's really no good halfbacks. The best would be upgrading this team captain Frank Gore. But once again, stick around to the end of the video, because there is a way to use any halfback here. Quarterback, you can use Lamar Jackson, but if you have extra coins, you can use the Warren Moon, which, spoiler alert, that's what we're going to be using for this team. So we'll wait until we do the Seahawks to put him in. And then fullback, you have two good options. You have Kyle Juszczyk and you have Patrick Ricard, but we're going to be using the fullback from the Seahawks. And so offensively, this is what the Ravens team will look like. And now swapping over to the defense, we do have a decent amount of Ravens here. We're going to start at free safety. Obviously, you're going to use Ed Reed. Now, obviously, this team is expensive, so if you don't have enough for this Ed Reed, this is a very good option, and it's significantly cheaper. This is actually who I have on my personal team. But for purposes of showing the overall of this team, we're just going to put the best one here. Now, right outside linebacker, you're going to use the Darius Smith. Obviously, he did play for the Ravens. Now, middle linebacker, we're going to use the team builder Christian Welch, and we're also going to use Roquan Smith. And if you use this Ed Reed, of course, I know I've been saying it a lot, but obviously with the team chem boost, he will be better. He'll have 88 speed, 89 excel, and then of course he gets some random stuff like strength and jumping. But already this card is a dog. So now ending out your linebackers, you're going to use Odafe Owe. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name. I gave it my best shot. And so as you can see, this defense is already crazy. Now strong safety, we also are going to be using him from the Seahawks. But if you wanted to go the Ravens route, there is a Kyle Hamilton here. So by all means, if you do not have enough to pick up the guy from the Seahawks that we will be getting to later here, then Kyle Hamilton is not a bad addition to your team. And now cornerbacks, we are going to be only using one from the Ravens, but there is some cheap ones like Marcus Peters. So again, if you're wanting to use this team but you don't have that many coins to build the best one possible, there is a few places that you could go a little bit budget. At corner, we will be using this 85 overall Marlon Humphreys. He's about 100k. He's about just a little bit over 100k. Good height at 6 foot tall. Base stats are already pretty good, but of course with the chem boost, he'll have 85 speed, 85 excel, XL. And I'm pretty sure you also get an awareness boost. And now the last thing from the Ravens that we will be using is this Michael Pierce. Not the best D tackle, but it is definitely a good option. And okay, now the Ravens side of the defense is done as well. So quickly running it back over for Ravens. Offensive line, we have Kevin Mulway, Kevin Zeitler, and Morgan Moses. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews. And wide receiver number 1, we have Devin Hester. And then defensively, we have a lot. At free safety, we have Ed Reed. Every single one of our linebacker is from the Ravens. We have Zadarius Smith, Christian Welch, Roquan Smith, and then Odafe Owe. Cornerback number 1 is Marlon Humphrey. And then defensive tackle number 1 is Michael Pierce. And now quickly, just looking at punter and kicker, you can use Justin Tucker if you have the coins. But personally, I feel like 220K is kind of a waste on a kicker. But he is there if you do have the coins and you just want to blow them. Okay, so now let's get into the Seahawks part of the team. At left tackle, we will be using this Dwayne Brown. Really good pass block. It's decent run block. If we compare him to another top guy at his position, you can see he stacks up really good against them, except of course run block. But honestly, I don't think you'll really be able to feel the impact, because in Madden, linemen that are around the same in terms of overall and such generally play the same. And so again, I really don't think you'll feel that +6 run block if you went out and got Trent Williams over Dwayne Brown. And then at left guard, we're going to be using this Damian Lewis. This card is a really good card, and it's pretty cheap at 100K. 84 run block, 82 pass block, 85 strength. Of course, strength will go up. And if we quickly just compare him to the top guy, Joel Bitonio, he's half the price. And honestly, the stats aren't too far off, because with Team Boost, he'll have 86 strength. He'll have 82 awareness, so the awareness will go down a little bit. Obviously, the Joel Bitonio is the better card. You'll save at least 100,000 coins, and you'll still get a beast. And then wide receiver number 2, we're going to be using DK Metcalf. Looking at DK, the best thing about DK is he is 6'3". He also has a base of 84 speed and 83 XL. Decent catching at 80. Overall, nothing's too crazy about him except for his height. And then wide receiver number 3, we're going to put Tyler Lockett. But you can use anybody here. It does not matter if he fits the theme team or not, because you will have a few open spots available. And not only that, but if you come here to specialist, as you can see, you have slot receiver. So we could put anybody here. Let's say we wanted to use this, let's say we wanted to use Drake London. We could put him here, and then when we're in the game, we could just sub him in to where this Tyler Lockett is. You can also do that with a lot of people. You can do that with running backs, defensive tackles, defensive ends, linebackers. And also you can put safeties here, and then also you can do it with corners as well. And so if you wanted to use that to your advantage, you can put any running back here. You can put any linebacker here, or safety if you don't like the current ones. And then also that's very good for depth as well. If you're a person who subs in safeties at your linebacker spots, this is going to be what you want to do. Let's say I want to use this Cameron Curl. You put him here, and then in game you would just sub him in for your linebacker spot. And so really you could put anybody you wanted here. You also have 3 spots on the actual team that you could put somebody else there. So me personally, I have this Ramondre Stevenson on my team. I do not have to do the specialist method, and that is because your punter and your kicker, if you do have Ravens or Seahawks punters or kickers, then you have 2 open spots, and then I will show you how to get a 3rd. So if you want a visual, I will have that coming up here soon in the video. But basically, team affinity for one of your strategy cards, it will give you +1 to whatever team you want. And then obviously in this situation, we use it as either a Raven or a Seahawk. But anyways, with that out of the way, back to building the team. Now at quarterback, like I said before, you could use the Lamar Jackson, but who I'm personally going to use on this team, and who you should if you have the coins, is this new Warren Moon that was just announced. Easily, as far as stats wise, he's going to be the best quarterback in MUT. He's going to have 84 speed on this team and just insane stats. And then he did play for the Seahawks, which is why you can use him on this team. I'm recording this the night before they come out. I can't actually put him here, but let's just pretend Warren Moon is right there. And then for our fullback, like I said, there is Kyle Juszczyk or Patrick Ricard, but the most expensive option, which is also the best, is going to be this Franco Harris. And so with the offense basically built, as you can see, this team is already crazy, because obviously quarterback spot right now is blank, but you will have an 87 overall quarterback there. Now defensively for the Seahawks, obviously Sherman, which again, there is the 84 version you can use, but just regularly, this Sherman is one of the best cornerbacks in MUT. 6'3", which again is crazy. And then with Chems, he'll have 87 speed, 84 XL, 90 zone, 82 man, which if you get into strategy cards, you can boost like his man in his zone, but that'll just be for any cornerbacks. That's not specifically for theme team guys, which is why I haven't been saying that. But there is a bunch of strategy cards that you can boost pretty much any stat in the game, but that is cornerback number 1. Cornerback number 2 is Tariq Woolen. He's even taller than Sherman. He's 6'4". Man and zone are pretty good. Honestly, going to be some of the best that you can find on any cornerback in MUT right now. And then, of course, on our theme team, 86 speed. Right end is going to be LJ Collier. And then left end, you have 2 options. You can either get Draymond Jones, or you can get this Aiden Hutchinson. because like I said in the beginning of this video, he gets all 32 teams, which obviously includes Seahawks. Now comparing the two, they're very evenly comparable. Hutchinson obviously has him beat in height. Speed and excel go to Hutchinson. Strength and tackle go to Draymond Jones. Play work is basically a wash, but it is +1 to Aiden Hutchinson. And then block shedding goes to Draymond Jones, but power moves and finesse moves go to Aiden Hutchinson. Personally, I'll probably use Hutchinson on this team, but I also might get Draymond Jones for one specific reason. If we look here, he is an LTD, which means he'll quick sell for 350,000 coins anytime I sell him. And so if I buy him for 400k, no matter when I sell him, the most I'd really lose is 50,000 coins. And so we're just gonna have Hutchinson here, but again, you could have Draymond Jones. And then for strong safety, we're gonna have this Cam Chancellor. Just like any of the other legends, he will have an 84 that you could use if you don't have enough coins, but 6'3", base of 87 speed, 90 power. The only bad thing about this card is his man coverage, which he is a safety, so it's not really going to be a huge deal, at least for me specifically, because when I use safeties, they're typically in zone. But again, it kind of just depends on how you play, but that is who will be there. And then we'll use Jason Myers for the kicker because he is a lot cheaper than Justin Tucker, and punter we will use Michael Dixon. And so that's pretty much the team built. The only thing that you'll have to do is go get golds as your backups, obviously, to boost you to that 25. And like I said, you'll have 3 spots that you can just use anybody you want, but you can also get more if you come over here and do the specialist method, because you could put an additional like 2 receivers, you could put sub linebackers, you could put corners, D tackles, ends. You could get a lot of more players that do not fit the theme team. So really all of the weaknesses like defensive tackle, right tackle, wide receiver number 3, halfback, you don't have to use any of those. You could use whoever you want. And so in my opinion, this is the best theme team you could possibly build in the game. And so as you can see, we are 25 out of 50 for Seattle, and then we are 24 out of 50 for Baltimore. But all you have to do is just get a strategy card for the Baltimore Ravens. It will give you +1 to Chem, and then it will be a 25 out of 50 Seattle, 25 out of 50 Baltimore. Alternatively, if you didn't want to get a strategy, all you have to do is just put somebody, like let's say if you have a starting running back that does not fit the theme team, just go put him in specialist, and then put your starting running back to someone like Gus Edwards, who's just a 76, and that'll give you it without having to do strategy cards. But in my opinion, that is the best theme team, and that is how you make it. Quickly, here's some other options if you didn't want to use Ravens, guys. Here are some Seahawks you could replace them with. So like if you don't want Roquan or you didn't want Christian Welch, you could just use this Bobby Wagner. At free safety, you could get Joey Blunt, who is pretty good. And then like I said, obviously there's not a lot of depth in terms of backup safeties and backup corners, but you can easily fix that by just coming here and putting whatever corner you want to use right here under slot cornerback spot. So let's say I pre-ordered and I have this Sauce Gardner. I could put him at my slot cornerback and then just sub him in when the game starts. And once again, you can do that for safeties, linebackers, corners, defensive ends, defensive tackles, running backs, and receivers. You can also do it for tight ends by putting them under the slot receiver spot. But that's all I got for you today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. As I'm recording, we're literally 1 sub away from 400, so make sure you hit the button. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.